ship.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
Just before the show began, he changed the communications officer from a male to female and brought me back from Europe to become Uhura, which had not been named until I got the role. And when they saw who he had hired, because he told the suits that he was going to make a little change on the ship, and he wanted to add a little color to it. They thought yes, because they thought the costumes were a little drab. So my first costume actually was a drab green, and when they saw not only that I was the new communications officer, but this part was much larger than yes sir, no sir, they said it can't happen. And Gene said, she stays or I go. He fought for it, he battled bitterly for it, and he won out in the end.
Sir, contact with an object. It's moving toward us.
No visual contact yet.
Deflectors, full intensity.
It's coming at light speed.
Collision course. Evasive maneuvers, Mr. Sulu.
When I met Gene Roddenberry and he told me about the idea of the show and the kind of character that I was being considered for, I desperately wanted to get this part. First of all, the idea of Star Trek, the vision that Gene had. He said that the Starship Enterprise was a metaphor for Starship Earth, and the strength of the starship lay in its diversity, but that diversity working together in concert. And that's why I was being considered. I was to represent the Asian portion of the great diversity of this starship.
Astrocytes is standing by, Captain.
Engineering division ready, as always.
I've been able to do accents ever since I can remember. And fortunately, I have a very good ear for it. A lot of concentration has to go into that sort of thing. And like Scotty, there was a fellow in a signals camp during the war, was from Aberdeen, and I based my Scottish accent on him. Because he was the one, he was with us for 6 weeks. And the first week I couldn't understand a word he said.
How's it going, Scotty?
Well, sir, it's a plumber's nightmare, but it'll hold for a bit.
It has to hold longer than a bit.
I'm sorry, sir, that's about the best I can do, and I guarantee it's not good enough.
Gene Roddenberry asked me which accent I liked, and I said, well, if you want an engineer, I think he better be a Scotsman, because they're the best engineers that I have ever heard about.
Where is he? I don't know, Jim. This is a big ship. I'm just a country doctor.
DeForest Kelley was an extremely generous man. He was a gentleman in all senses of the word. And I think he was very generous in his time and in his work. But he was always so easy to work with. He had been a friend of Gene Roddenberry's for a long time. He had been in the police story pilot that we did in the summer of 1965. He was not in the first two Star Trek pilots. There were other doctors, and they kind of moved aside, either for other commitments or because Gene felt after seeing them, well, guy's a little too old. I want somebody who's a little closer to Kirk's age, not contemporary. He wasn't. He was about 10 years older than Kirk and Spock, but he had a little more wisdom and a little more time in living, and so he brought that humanity to the triumvirate. Whereas Kirk was the action guy and Spock was the brain guy, the logic guy. McCoy was the human guy. And with the three of them, it made a wonderful human being, actually.
There was such a feeling of, what a joy, what a kick. It was so well written. They were writing things, and I could use the pronoun we. We're writing things that hadn't been done on television before. There was such a wonderful relationship of the characters, as well as in many cases between the actors and the crew and the camera people. That usually happens on a shoot, but Here we were for 3 years together. Most of us stayed the same. The directors were the same, for the most part. And there was a continuity. And there was a sharing of experience. Things in real life happened. There were deaths and births. And so the sharing with human beings is right there, as well as the real joy of well-written scenes that you never get in television as a rule. And so the good stories, the fun action, and the wonderful human beings that I was associated with remain in my memory.
Mr. Sulu, proceed on course to Marcus 3. Ahead, warp factor 1.
Aye, sir.